Well, the impact of not having an IMF program, or at least securing the ninth review tranche of $1.2 billion, will have quite serious implications for Pakistan's economy. Its the rupee dollar parity will come under severe pressure. Uh, the country will face difficulties in opening the letter of credit even for the essential import, and the importer and the exporters would ask for the money in advance, which Pakistan may not be in a position to provide, or at least it may have funds which are not sufficient to meet the total needs of the economy, including supplying fuel and other essential commodities. So the economy will face severe shocks in case there is a delay in finalizing the IMF program, and also there is a delay in reaching to a new IMF program after the expiry of this one in June. And if ninth review remains incomplete, then the caretaker government as well as the new government, they will have problems in negotiating a new program with the IMF. The reason being, there will be a huge trust deficit between Pakistan and the IMF. And IMF, it wouldn't matter to the IMF whether it was the PDM government or the PTA government or some other party's government. At the end of the day, it will be the government of Pakistan that will be negotiating with the IMF, and all those unmet conditions which Pakistan was supposed to meet during the currency of this program, um, those may become the prior action for the new program. So it will be a quite tough journey for the people of Pakistan as well as for the new government. Well, in response to your second question, the country has now only less than $3 billion foreign exchange reserves after making a payment of $1 billion to China 2 days ago. With $3 billion reserves in hand, the country still has to make certain payment despite rollovers, which means even if Chinese pay back this $1 billion and another $300 million that Pakistan would return to China in few days in the hope that Chinese will again pay back to Pakistan that money, still the government will have to make payments around $1 billion to multilateral creditors. That will bring the overall foreign exchange reserves held by the central bank again to the territory of $3 billion. With $3 billion in hands, no certain inflows guaranteed. There will be a huge pressure on the value of the Pak rupee against the US currency, and it can go to any price, because the limited amount of dollars that will be available in the market, either held by the interbanks or the foreign exchange companies, will be chased by people who want to use that money for imports, for other purposes. So there can be a huge pressure on the value of the rupee against the US dollar, and this can be seen this can be seen in case of Sri Lanka, where the Sri Lankan rupee lost huge value within weeks after the country declared default. So, in order to avoid such scenario, Pakistan has to take certain measures, and the government will have to explain what kind of plan B it has, which frankly no one knows. Pakistan's total external debt repayments, including the interest cost, is estimated around $25 billion. Any money that will be needed to finance the current account deficit is over and above this sum. So, post June scenario where there is no IMF program, it will be very difficult for Pakistan to get any kind of budget support loans from either the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, or the Islamic Development Bank, or the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. All these institutions will be looking towards the IMF before sanctioning any money for the budget support loan. The project loans might continue, but the amount of money that will come under the project loans will not be sufficient to finance the huge needs that Pakistan will have in the next financial year. You may guess this from the fact that from July to December, the country has to make about $11 billion debt repayments, and out of this $11 billion, maybe $4 or $5 billion will be the sum that the country expects to be rolled over by China and Saudi Arabia. So what about the rest of the money? So there's a gap of $4 to $6 billion from July to December. That is the first half of the next financial year. So the things are quite tight, and it is good that it will be good that if the finance minister comes forward and explain what kind of plan B he has in hand, because he has not yet shared the details of the plan B that he claims that he has, but the Minister of State for Finance says that there is no plan B. The exit of Shell from Pakistan should be a wake-up call for the government, that, and it is a clear message that by restricting imports, by curbing imports, by disallowing the foreign investors to take back their rightful dividends, things cannot be declared as a victory. If people are under some kind of impression that the country has not officially defaulted yet, despite having very limited or thin reserves, they are wrong. Shell has given a huge message to Pakistan today, that the foreign companies cannot be taken for granted, and the country has to bring its house in order. Otherwise, the exit of Shell from Pakistan is just the beginning. There might be other companies, particularly the Western companies, that may like to leave, and it is not only the question of blocking their dividend payments that may now run into billions of dollars. These companies are also having problems in getting back their rightful tax refunds. The FBR is not paying their due refunds to these companies. Then there is also a problem of keep 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 running their businesses, because they still need certain kind of imports, the imports of the raw material, which they are not able to get because there are restrictions on the imports. So the outlook for Pakistan's economy is quite bleak, and the exit of Shell from Pakistan should be taken as a wake up call by the government of Pakistan.